I want to talk about women's relationship to men. A lot of women think that it is in the man's court, the decision. And the woman is reliant on the man's decision. But women actually decide the generation. Men can decide the status quo, the home environment, the security, the protection, but women decide the generation. They decide the community, and the community decides the well-being of the generation. Community well-being is the success of the generation. Community well-being is the success of a generation, and that is decided by the woman. So what we have going on, now this is not everyone, but we are seeing themes, is that a lot of fathers basically tell their little girl, I'll be there for you when I'm available. When I'm available. So basically little girls are trained to think that they need to wait for the father, for the man to decide. So what we see that little girl become is she's waiting for men to decide, putting it all in the man's court. But the thing is, men are not as intuitive or disciplined as women. Because women understand community well-being is a discipline. It's not do whatever you want. It's not do whatever you want to whoever you want, just mayhem, everyone's just running around. Women understand discipline within the community creates well-being. It creates structure. And women are very much about the structure of the relationship to self and the relationship to other. That is the woman. That's the woman. So she decides the discipline for the relationship to the self and the relationship to other through creating a sense of worth. And the sense of worth is very much manifested through giving a child opportunities, environments, and where that child can discover and express its most natural talent or its most natural gift or most natural rhythm. So they can move towards what is most natural for them. Either it's science, that's their most natural talent or expression, or either it's art, that's their most natural talent expression. And women provide a discipline like a emotional relationship to self, a worth that can help that child to achieve it. Either it's science, all the way up in science, that's their natural expression, or it's all the way in art. They give a child a discipline, which is like a correction, a construction of a worth. So corrective, constructive, and creative worth. So that worth becomes confidence. And that confidence has something to give to the community. Either it's something, a science, or either it's something in art. That's the confidence. And that's all about the woman and her relationship to herself, her relationship to her environment, the community she creates, and the discipline that manifests a well-being. A well-being. So when it is in the man's court, everything, the decision, the community well-being is in the man's court, well, he doesn't have that intuition as strong as the woman, or that sense of discipline within the community. So what we're seeing is these little girls that were waiting for their father to be available. I'll be available, hold on, when I'm doing this. And then the little girl's like, okay, I have to wait until he decides that he wants to nurture me, that he wants to listen to me, that he wants to take care of me, that he wants to go on a walk with me. I have to wait for that. So and even women, mothers support this. So these little girls become women, and what we're seeing is there is a lack of self-control within men, because women have not yet cultivated a sense of worth, which is a good relationship with yourself and with others. So when women don't have a good relationship with self and with others, basically the men, they can, do whatever they want, whenever they want. because men are reliant on the generation. They're not necessarily reliant on the woman, using her to, become a better man. It's more so the generation. So when the generation is very much mayhem, like the community is hostile, you do whatever you want. Do whatever you want to whoever you want. Who cares? Ghost this person, be cruel to that person. Who cares? It's free for all, free for all. You know what I'm saying? That creates within the man, because the man's relying on the generation, which is created by the woman, then the man just gets to the lack of self-control. Okay? So when the woman is really holding the worth within herself, she decides. The power is in her decision, because she creates the generation, the well-being of it. Are we going to have a generation of young men and women that are just mayhem and free-for-all, do whatever you want, be desperate, be manipulative, just, do whatever to whoever, no consequences, no discipline? Yeah, then we're seeing men, they basically take on that role of, when they're available, they'll give the woman their care, and if they don't want to, they don't need to, because it's free for all. So that's not for everyone, but what we need is, we need to see more women who are very much understanding that they decide the generation and through the community well-being. And how you can do that within yourself is the relationship you have with yourself as a woman, your worth, and it's a discipline. It's a discipline. It's very much a no, and it's very much a yes to what actually improves your sense of worth rather than degrades your sense of worth. Okay, women, we must be available to our emotional needs, available to our decision in what brings us joy, because then we create a very organized, you could say, an organized community, and get away the mayhem or the relationship mess that a lot of people are in. Okay, and this will turn what we see men out of control. When we don't have self-control, what we see in our society, we have like food addictions, substance addictions, because we have no self-control. Procreation, we have no self-control. We're just procreating even though we're not ready, prepared, or actually have something to give. And this is due to the lack of self-control that we have, okay? Creating all kinds of toxicities and all kinds of messes, either when it comes to the trash in the streets, or even when it comes to our stresses that we have, where we don't have a ritualistic discipline that can actually create not mayhem or free-for-all, but actually a routine that actually brings us a sense of strength, a sense of compassion, a sense of understanding, rather than a sense of malnourished, and then leading into your moodiness and your bad attitude and all of that kind of stuff. So the relationship with the self as woman is absolutely important. We get on a ritualistic path, because that's natural, and that's a discipline, and that will create a generation within ourselves, within our relationships to friends, co-workers, everybody we come in contact, that will create a well-being. It's like a well-being. It's a compassion. It's an understanding. It's a sharing. It's a caring. It's including each other in a very honest and relaxed way. Okay? And then that, as women, we decide that. Men will naturally have to get on board. They will naturally have to get on board, because they understand that it's not they decide the community, the relationship, and what we are, our well-being together, or our dysfunction or our function, dysfunction or function. It's very much the man knows that it is within himself. He must be available to himself and to the community in a way that is nourishing, and not a way that's a free-for-all. So that gives a sense of like a groundedness within men, a sense of groundedness. So that's very much the message for today.